we were looking at valuation of securities, and we stopped. Isaac, good evening.
Yes, evening to you.
Welcome to class.
Thank you, thank you.
So I don't know whether you have had time. I doubt whether you have been able to watch. So you just pick up from where we are.
Okay, no problem.
So we are starting off by looking at valuation of a zero coupon bond. Valuation of a zero coupon bond. Valuation of a zero coupon bond. And we write that this is a bond which does not pay. This is a bond which does not pay any periodic income. This is a bond which does not pay any periodic income. Full stop. The intrinsic value is equal to the value of the present value of a lump sum, present value of a lump sum, future amount, a lump sum future amount. First up, they are usually issued at a discount. Full stop, and you write this formula. Discount is equal to intrinsic value minus redemption future or redemption value. Now in terms of initial, this is PV minus FV, the present value minus the future value. The present value minus the future value. And then discount rate, if you are told to compute discount rate, is equal to the discount you divide by the future value times 100. The discount rate is equal to discount It then follows that colon interest income interest income is discount rate times future value. So that is how you can value what we are calling the non-coupon or zero coupon bond. The bond that we discussed last time, it is the one that is paying security, paying interest. But now this one, we are not being paid anything. What happens is, if for example, you are giving a bond of 100 million and you are giving it today, 2026, and you want to be given back the money 2030. So what will happen? You as the lender, you shall not give the borrower 100 million. You will deduct the discount, maybe the discount of 5 million. So you give them 95 million today, but when it will be time for the borrower to return, he will return 100 million. So that's why we are saying that the discount will be equal now to the present value. Obviously, now you get the present value of this 100 million. You minus the future value now, this 100 million, when you have already discounted. And the discount becomes the interest income. However, this is very, very rare. You will rarely come across it. It is not common. Yeah, people do not give money without interest. Now, let's now look at valuation of ordinary shares. Valuation of ordinary shares. We are looking at fixed incomes, madeni. So let's now look at valuation of ordinary shares. Valuation of ordinary shares. Valuation of ordinary shares. Valuation of ordinary shares. And we write that there are various methods used to estimate. There are various methods used to estimate the intrinsic value, which include number one, we shall first of all list them. Number one, net assets or liquidating method. Net assets or liquidating method. Number two, super profit method. Super profit method. Super profit method. Number 3, price earnings ratio method. Price earnings ratio method. Price earnings ratio method. Another one is capitalization of earnings method. Capitalization of earnings method. Capitalization of earnings method. Another one is dividend yield. Dividend yield or Gordon model. Gordon model. Another one is called Walters model. Walters model. So those are the various methods, the 6 methods that you can use to value ordinary shares. To value ordinary shares. So let's start with the first one. Net assets or liquidating method. Net assets or liquidating method. Net assets or liquidating method. And we write that this method is used when the company is being liquidated. This method is used when the company is being liquidated. This method is used when the company is being liquidated. Full stop. The formulas used are intrinsic value of a share, that is P naught. Intrinsic value of a share, that is P naught, is equal to net tangible assets. Net tangible assets. Net tangible assets. Net tangible assets, you divide by number of ordinary shares. Number of ordinary shares. Where net tangible assets is equals to total assets minus intangible assets minus total liabilities. Minus total liabilities. Total assets, you minus intangible assets, you minus total liabilities. And if you want to get something we call net worth, it is ordinary share capital. Ordinary share capital plus retained earnings, retained earnings plus share premium, you subtract goodwill. You subtract goodwill. So that is the approach that is called the net assets. They are the assets that remain after you subtract the liabilities and the intangibles. And the net worth, the ordinary share capital plus the retained earnings. Remember, these are part of equity. Even this one, the share premium, then you less goodwill. So let's go to this question that was tested in December 2022. Let's go to our past papers and check December 2022, question number 2A. December 2022, question 2A. If you are there already, the question says, DOPCO Limited has provided the following summary of statement, financial position for the year ended 30th of September 2022. We have the non-current assets, freehold land and buildings, plant and machinery, equipment, goodwill. Current assets, we have inventory, trade receivables, short-term investments, cash, current liabilities, trade payables, taxation, proposed ordinary shares, dividends. We have equities and liabilities, deferred tax, ordinary shares, reserves, 6% preference shares. Now determine the value of each ordinary share using net asset value basis of valuation. So if you're using that method, net asset basis of valuation, the first thing is to get net tangible assets. Net tangible assets. Net tangible assets. So according to the formula that we have written, you require to go and get the total assets. So looking at that question, you can see up there that the total assets, the non-current assets are, or maybe let me start with the total assets. Let me just go straight to the total assets. Total assets will be the 560,000, that is the non-current, plus the current, which is a summary of 320,000. Now you minus any intangible. Any intangible, the intangible asset here is just goodwill, 40,000. We minus 40,000 is an intangible asset. Then you minus total liabilities. So the current liabilities are 200. Current liabilities are 200. The long-term liabilities, we have two of them. The long-term liabilities, no, have I picked correctly? The current liabilities, they are 200. Okay, which I have picked. The long-term liabilities, there are two of them, 120 and the 20, the debt and the deferred tax. So you minus 120,000 and you minus 20,000. Yeah, those are the liabilities, the total liabilities. So based on that now, give me the answer. Based on that, give me the... How much do you have?
500,000.
500,000. Okay.
Yes.
500,000. Good. All right. So that is the net assets. So if that is the net assets, what else do we require? Number of ordinary shares. So we'll now come and say that the number of ordinary shares, I think we also need to compute them. Number of ordinary shares. Number of ordinary shares. The question is saying, if you look at the question says ordinary shares of 10 shillings each, 160. It's 160 million. So if you take the 160 million, you divide by 10 shillings each, this gives you 16 million. That gives you 16 million. And therefore, the intrinsic value per share, intrinsic value per share will be 500 million Remember, these figures were in thousands. So it's 500 million. You divide by 16 million. You divide by 16 million. That 1.25, good. That 1.25. So that is the value per share when you are using that method called net assets or liquidating method. Alright, let's go to the next. Let us go to the next method, which is known as super profits method. Super profits method. Super profits method. And write that this is used where the firm is a going concern. This is used where the firm is a going concern. First up. The intrinsic value per share is computed as the intrinsic value per share is computed as P naught is equal to net tangible assets plus goodwill. Net tangible assets plus goodwill. You divide by number of ordinary shares. Number of ordinary shares. So if we still use the same question that we have used up there, the December 2022 question 2A, the P naught will now be the 500,000 plus the goodwill. Or I can just put it as, let me put it in millions. 500 million. Plus, if you go to the question, you find goodwill is 40,000. So it's 40 million. Now this one, you divide by the number of shares, which we already know they are 16 million. The number of shares, we already know they are 16 million. See one answer. The others were your answers. That 3.75. So if we are taught to value shares using that method, the super profits method, that's the way to go. Let's see another way, number 3, called price earnings ratio method. Price earnings ratio method. And like that, these assume that the market is efficient. This assumes that the market is efficient. And hence, intrinsic value of a share, intrinsic value of a share, intrinsic value of a share is equal to the market price, is equal to the market price of the share. The market price of the share. The market price of the share. The computations are price earnings ratio, the PE ratio, is given as market price per share. This one is normally given as MPS, market price per share. You have your MPS. You divide by earnings per share. Earnings per share, that is EPS. EPS. Where EPS is earnings due to ordinary shares. Earnings due to ordinary shares. You divide by the number of ordinary shares. The number of ordinary shares. And thus, market value of equity. Market value of equity. If we are told to compute market value of equity, it is the earnings per share, the EPS, times number of ordinary shares. Number of ordinary shares. So that is how we go about it. So this one, we don't have a question for now. So you just take note of the formulas. We shall come across a question later. We go to method number 4. Capitalization of earnings method. Capitalization of earnings method. And we write that this is used where the firm is a going concern. This is used where the firm is a going concern. Full stop. Then you write this formula. Value of the firm is equals to discounted expected future profits. Discounted expected future profits. Where expected future profits is given as average profit over specified number of past periods. Yeah, so you get the average. Maybe you look for 10 years in the past, you get the average. So that average is the one that we take to be the future. So we assume that the past will repeat into the future. The past will repeat into the future. Then you write another statement that since the firm is a going concern, profits per year becomes an annuity. Profits per year becomes an annuity in perpetuity. Profits per year becomes an annuity in perpetuity, and hence, you write this formula. Value of the firm is the present value of annuity in perpetuity present value of annuity in perpetuity. You divide it by the discounting rate. You divide by the discounting rate. Yeah, so if now this average remains, we treat it as an annuity. And remember, an annuity is a constant amount that is coming in or being paid within specified periods of time. So if you want now to get the value of the firm, you get the present value of that annuity in perpetuity. Then you divide by the discounting rate. Still under that, we write that if the earnings are growing, 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 you write this formula. EN is equals to E naught 1 plus G raised power N. Raised power N, where E naught equals, and you write this, E naught equals earnings or profits. Earnings or profits at the beginning of the first year of growth. Earnings or profits at the beginning of the first year of growth. First year of growth. EN earnings or profits. Earnings or profits at the end of year N. Year N of growth. Year N of growth. N is number of years of growth. Number of years of growth. Number of years of growth. G is growth rate. And this growth rate is given as EN, you divide by E naught. You raise power 1 out of N minus 1. Thus, intrinsic value per share, intrinsic value per share is equals to the value of the firm we divide by the number of ordinary shares. Yeah, so those are the formulas that we use in the capitalization of earnings. So let's go to this question of August 2024. There is a question that was tested in August 2024. It's 2022. It's 2022, question 5C. August 2022. So if you are there, you go to question 5C. Question 5C. If you are there, inasema Coke Limited recently paid a dividend of shillings 2.5 per share. The dividend is expected to grow at a rate of 15% per annum for the first 3 years. Then at a rate of 10% per annum for the next 2 years, after which the dividend will grow at a rate of 5% per annum to perpetuity. The required rate of return for the ordinary share is 12%. Required, the intrinsic value of the ordinary share. So the intrinsic value of the ordinary share, according to this method, it is the value of the firm you divide by the number of shares. Divide by the number of shares. But if you have just been given one share, then you just work with it as it is the case here. So we are going to have it in a tabular format. where we have the year here. We shall draw several columns. So in the first year 0, we have dividend per share. Dividend per share. The dividend paid last year or the current year is 2.5. And we are told it is expected to grow at the rate of 15% per annum for the first 3 years. So we multiply by 1 plus 0.15. So give me the answer. $2.875. Higher. Then we go to year 2. It is again 2.5, or we can take this one, 2.875 times 1 plus 0.15. We will have 2 other columns that will not be very huge. So maybe we can confine ourselves to 4 decimals. Yeah, 3.3063. Let's confine ourselves to 3 decimals because taenda zikiongezeka sana. Haya, year 3, we take now this 3.3063 times, actually this one now you can write it as 1.15. It's the same thing. Can also write it that way. So 3.80. So fourth year, we are told we are now going to grow by 10%. Fourth year, we are growing by 10%. 4.18, 4.1822. Then the fifth year, 4.1822 times 1.1. 4.6004. So now we are told going forward, after that, it will grow into perpetuity at 5%. So if it's going to grow in perpetuity in year 6 and beyond, you take this 4.6004 times the growth into the 6th year, that is 1 plus 0.05. Then you divide by G minus, D minus G. D is the discounting rate, but there is growth. There is growth. 9.006. So now let's go to PVIF for 12%. You go to the tables that are at the back of the past papers. So that we shall read there. Then finally now we get the present value. Present value. So go to the tables and start reading the values. We are here for the first year. Eight, 929. Next. The next value, we are reading the tables. Are you reading the correct table? Royce, tunasoma ile the second last. The second last. Isaac, you're saying the first table was, the first year was 8696. We are reading the second last table. So Isaac, check on that, and I can see you have corrected this 0.7. Isaac, are you able to see that? And Royce? Good. Good. Give me now for the third year. 7-1. That's a minute. Okay, sorry, give me the next. Six, 355. Next. Five, 6, 7, 4. Next. Oh, sorry. Now this one, this one, when now you are growing to perpetuity, we use the same. We use the same here. It's good to note. When now you're growing to perpetuity, you use the last year here. So we use this one. When you're growing to perpetuity. So now let's get the present values. Again, we can confine ourselves to 4 decimals. So you multiply this by this. Confine yourself to 4 decimals. This times this. Two 2.5671. Continue that way and give me the total down here. You multiply, give me the total down here. Work with 4 decimals. Total down there. Can see one answer. Yeah, 52.33, thereabouts. $52.33. Okay. So that is now, so down there now you see the intrinsic value is 52.33. The intrinsic value per share is 52.33. The intrinsic value per share. For your assignment, you shall do April 2022, question 1B. Then November 2018, question 3C. And May 2018, again, question 3C. Number 5 is dividend yield. Or Gordon model. Dividend yields or Gordon model. And we write that this is based on dividends payable by the firm. This is based on dividends payable by the firm. Full stop. The intrinsic value of a share, the intrinsic value of a share, the intrinsic value of a share is equal to the present value is equal to the present value of all the expected dividends is equal to the present value of all expected dividends. Full stop. Then you write this formula. Dividend yield is given as dividend per share. You divide by market price per share. Dividend per share you divide by market price per share.
Excuse me, teacher.
Yes.
I missed something. The intrinsic value of a share is equal to?
Present value of all the expected dividends. Present value of all the expected dividends.
Thank you.
Welcome. Dividend yield is DPS over MPS. And then we write that this model identifies three types of firms. This model identifies three types of firms. Three types of firms. One, or Roman one, zero growth firm, zero growth firm. So here we say P naught is the market price per share, will be given as D naught over KE. So all those initials, we know them. Roman 2, normal or constant growth firm. Normal or constant growth firm. Now in this one, P naught is given as D naught 1 plus G. You divide by KE, cost of equity minus the growth, which qualifies to be D1 out of KE minus G. Number 3, supernormal. Supernormal or irregular growth firm. Supernormal or irregular growth firm. So in this third company, in this one, P naught is equal to present value of dividend per share during supernormal period plus present value of dividend per share after supernormal periods after supernormal periods. Let's look at this question of November 2019. November 2019, question 3C. November 2019. November 2019. Question 3C. So if you are there, the question says, Fairad Industries has recently been listed on the Securities Exchange. The company has a policy of paying out a gradually increasing dividend per share over the past 5 years as indicated below. So we are given that. The company has recently paid the dividends for the year ended that 1st of December 2018. The shares are therefore quoted ex-dividend, that is without dividend. The management is considering a change in financing policy whereby greater financing will be provided from internally generated funds. This is expected to reduce the dividend per share to 5 in the year ending that 1st of December 2019. That is next year now from this data. The growth rate in earnings per share and dividend per share is expected to increase to 14% per annum from the year ending that 1st of December 2019. That's next year again. The company's shareholders require minimum return of 16%. Now, using the Gordon growth model, determine the market price per share. Yeah. As at that 1st of December 2018, prior to the change in the financing policy. Now, if we are told to get the market price per share, Roman 1, MPS, that is P naught. That is P naught. We already have written the formula. Na tukasema if there is growth, and here we can see there is growth, because you can see from 2014, dividend per share has changed. So the formula to use is P naught 1 plus G. You divide by KE minus G. Yeah, that's the formula. So the first thing is now to look for G. Now G will be given as Dn. You divide by D naught. You raise power 1 out of n minus 1. Dn is just like what we call En, the value at the end. So the last value of dividend is 7.3. And the first was 5.0. Now this one, you raise it to power 1 out of, you count from the first year, actually from the second year, because first year is not counted. So 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018. So those are 4 years. So 1 out of 4. You minus 1. Give me the value. Yeah, 0.09922. That's the growth rate. And therefore, P naught should be equal to the dividend that was declared last time. That is 7.3. That is 2018 times 1 plus 0.09922. You divide this by KE. KE, the cost of equity. We are told these guys require, the ordinary shares require a return of 16. And the growth is 0.09922. 13.2. Higher. The market price per share as at that 1st of December under the new financing. So under the new financing, the growth rate is 14%. So under the new financing, Roman 2, P naught now will be D1 out of KE minus G. So D1 is the dividend in the next period, which we are told it will now be 5. You divide by 0.16 and growth is 14%. Oh, it was 132, not 13. 132.02. Okay. So that now this one is 250. Okay. And finally now they're asking the break point. Now this break is the one that will make that will make under the new pricing the P naught to still remain as this. So at break point, we want to get one that's 2.02 being given as 5 divided by 0.16 minus G. G is what we do not know. So this becomes one that 2.02 times 0.16 minus G is equals to 5. So solve and tell me G would be what? Move and tell me G is what? $0.122. This is 12.2%. Good. So for your practice, you shall try November 2018, question 2C, and November 2015, question 1B, C, and D. And May 2018, question 2A. You shall try out those questions for practice. So we are going to stop at that juncture and then hope to pick up from there tomorrow, God willing, and proceed on the same. So thank you. Good night.